Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for the 2020 Governor's Arts Awards virtual celebration. I am Brian Rogers, the Executive Director of the Oregon Arts Commission and the Oregon Cultural Trust. I want to give a big thank you to the Harold and Arlene Schnitzer Care Foundation and Jordan Schnitzer for their generous support of tonight's program. I also want to thank Zachary Banks, the music director of the Grand Ronde and Oregon East Symphonies, and his partner Viet Block for doing the music you enjoyed prior to the countdown for tonight's event. Featured were works by Beethoven, Goddard, Laursen, and Hummel. Zachary, also a cellist, and Viet will join us later in the program for a special performance. These are very different times from when we last gathered in 2017 to present the Governor's Arts Awards. I wish we could be together again this evening for this very special celebration. However, in the last several months, we have learned we can still build community while practicing safe social distance. Artists and arts organizations were among the first to organize and host virtual events when the pandemic began. Creativity is a hallmark of our work, and for that, we are most grateful. So tonight, we gather Oregon's arts community online to pay tribute to 4 individuals and 1 organization who have excelled in their service to our state. Thank you for being here. Before we begin, we would like to welcome Chuck Sams, the Deputy Executive Director of the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation and the Chair of the Oregon Cultural Trust Board of Directors.
Good afternoon, my friends and relatives. My name is Chuck Sams. I am the Chair of Oregon Cultural Trust. I am from the Umatilla Indian Reservation. Oregon is home to over 100,000 American Indian people today. Prior to contact with the European nations, the territory was home to over 100 different tribes, bands, and clans of indigenous people. Modern Oregon is located in the traditional homelands of the following tribal nations today: the Burns Paiute, the Confederated Tribes of the Coos, Lower Umpqua, and Siuslaw, the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde Community of Oregon, the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz, the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs, the Coquille Indian Tribe, the Cow Creek Band of Umpqua Tribe of Indians, the Klamath Tribes, and the Nez Perce Tribe. At this time, we would like to pay respects to our elders, both past and present, and thank them for their stewardship of these lands. We extend the respect to all Indigenous peoples today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. I am speaking to you from the beautiful Chehalem Cultural Center in Newburgh. Our plan was to celebrate the 2020 Governor's Arts Awards here in this historic place, housed in a brick building that began its life in 1935 as Central School, a Depression-era WPA project. The Chehalem Center is currently celebrating its 10th year anniversary and will host its 10th annual Night of the Moon Gala virtually on September 26th. Currently on exhibit here are selections from the art studios of Yamhill County featuring the works of more than 40 artists working in Yamhill County. The center is always active in supporting the Newburgh community and right now is getting ready to roll out a full slate of socially distanced and remote art classes for kids, teens, and adults. We thank Executive Director Sean Andrews and his team for their hospitality. To begin tonight's celebration, we're excited to present a new reading from Oregon's current Poet Laureate, Anis Mojgani, a 2-time individual champion of the National Poetry Slam and an International World Cup Poetry Slam winner. Anis was named Oregon's 10th Poet Laureate in April. In announcing his appointment, Governor Brown called him the pragmatic optimist Oregon needs in these unprecedented times. He urges us to resolutely reflect in the moment, and with each grounding breath, our hearts come closer and come into this, she said. Please welcome Oregon Poet Laureate Anis Mojgani.
Evening, everybody. Very honored to get to be with you in this configuration and share a poem with y'all. So thanks so much. 2 birds calling across the river in the night to each other or both on the same side, and still calling to another caller upon the river's farther side. And in calling, do the birds call to the same absent feathered caller, or each to their own? each waiting for their own caller's song to call in response and become known, or do they call to nothing? With both birds in their dark waiting in the trees of one riverbank for the call of a winged nothing to carry over and find them, with the nothing's gentle mouth made known now by the sound it holds. Both birds waiting, or hoping, or neither, just maybe listening to how the dark holds the song of theirselves when no longer held in the dark of their own body. So much we make outside our bodies to hear the within, to throw the untouchable upon a something to be known, the shape of a wind made known by what it moves through, what its movement is made against, field grass, a flag rippling, the curving of a sea's wave, a stone wall tumbling over, a dance, that which is unseen in us. This too is how we come to know what it is. The painting is not the picture, but the stroke. The song, the notes, not the instrument lifting them. The light defines itself by how it exits the dark, but upon exiting, it can only cease to be. When a something burns, the something is not the thing burning, nor even is the burning that what burns, but rather that what sets it aflame. And not match, nor lighter, neither Molotov nor kerosene, not hand striking, but rather the thing under the hand, under the match, under the striking. The thing burning is the want for warmth, the warmth of being heard, of being seen, of being touched, of being known. Even as of the star, the body of it long since gone now, its light exited to carry itself to the side of the dark that holds our seasons, and us spinning beneath them. The two birds are not the birds, but vessel held by branch and night, that they might make known a song in a dark, carried from one side over the threshold, and then might be carried further over the next, that that which sits inside the vessel of another might hear what the hearts of others have wrought, have sung. Listen to what we have brought. Listen to what we are singing. Listen, what do you want to have wrought in return? What do you want to have sung? What do you wish to have given? What do you wish to sing? Thank you.
Thank you, Anise. We are so fortunate to have your voice in our world right now. Now it's my privilege to introduce the namesake of tonight's awards, Governor Kate Brown. Oregon's 38th governor, Kate Brown has over 25 years of experience in standing up for working families and making government more accountable. As governor, she signed legislation to improve the state's education system, to empower small business owners, to add jobs by passing Oregon's largest transportation package, and to contain costs in improving government efficiency and accountability. Going forward, Governor Brown will continue to advocate for policies that give Oregonians the tools they need to reach their full potential. Please join me in welcoming our Governor, Kate Brown.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Brian. Governor Kate Brown here, and I'm so honored to welcome you all to the 2020 Governor's Arts Awards virtual celebration. Art is a huge part of what makes Oregon alive and beautiful. It brings people together, sparks new ideas, and frankly, art makes our lives better. During challenging times, as we've experienced these last several months due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we turn to music, books, art, and film. Art provides solace and comfort when we need it the most. And to the many Oregon artists and arts organizations who've worked so hard to continue engaging our citizens online during the pandemic, thank you. Your resilience is truly remarkable. Tonight, I'm proud to partner with the Oregon Arts Commission to present the 2020 Governor's Arts Awards, Oregon's highest honor for exemplary service to the arts. The award recognizes and honors individuals and organizations that have made significant contributions to the arts in Oregon. I also need to say that my commitment to the arts is rooted in my desire to elevate the arts' influence on our youth, especially in the development of creative expression. Arts education is a key component in a child's education. We often hear about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math when it comes to boosting our young people's ability to compete in the 21st century economy? Well, in my office, we use STEAM, with the A standing for art. A child's exposure to the arts is key in fostering a spirit of creative thinking and innovation that will prime them to become the trailblazers, problem solvers, and world changers that we need. Arts and culture are also key contributors to our state's economy. Oregon's arts and culture sector typically contributes more than $670 million and over 22,000 jobs to Oregon's economy, proving that arts do mean business. And we do hope that all of our arts organizations can get back to that very important business soon. Thanks to the Arts Commission, art is also helping to transform and support development in our most rural communities. One example is What I Know for Sure, a writing performance series featuring seniors from both the Senior Citizen Center and Eagle Ridge High School near Klamath Falls, aimed at demonstrating the value of intergenerational relationships. Another is Tradition Keepers event at Four Rivers Cultural Center and Museum in Ontario, where a resident folklorist is producing video interviews and demonstrations with Paiute leaders and reed weavers, beaters, bass dancers, Japanese taiko drummers, and Mexican folkloric dancers. This keeps important traditions with the local community alive, online, for generations to come. And all of this would not be possible without the Oregon Arts Commission Director, Brian Rogers, and his team. Thank you. And thank you for all of you for joining me virtually tonight to celebrate art in Oregon and these outstanding artists.
Thank you, Governor Brown. We are very grateful for your support. This year, we had 7 volunteers from Beaverton, Grand Ronde, Hood River, LeGrand, Ontario, and Portland who reviewed the many nominations for the Governor's Arts Awards. Let's say thank you to Chris Azukin, Avantika Bawa, Sue Dixon, David Harrelson, Shelley Toon Lindberg, Matt Stringer, and Ann Taylor for that important work. And now I am proud to introduce our first 2020 Governor's Arts Award recipient. Darrell Grant is a tenured professor of jazz studies and associate director of the School of Music at PSU and the founding director of the Leroy Vinegar Jazz Institute, a highly recognized leader in the musical life of the Pacific Northwest. Darrell has directed cultural exchange programs in Russia, composed commission works that fuse jazz and chamber music, and served as the vice president of the Board of Chamber Music of America. Dedicated to civic engagement through artistry, he has driven pianos deep into the state forest to support the environment, arranged protest anthems, shared the stage with Nobel laureate Bishop Desmond Tutu, written an opera about gentrification, and now teaches as an artist at Citizen Course in Portland State University. Darrell grew up in Denver, Colorado, in a musical family. He began classical lessons at the age of 7, discovered jazz in school, and played professional gigs as a teenager. At 17, he won a scholarship to the Eastman School of Music, where he studied classical piano and deepened his love of jazz. He later earned a master's in jazz studies at the University of Miami, and then broke into New York City's jazz scene. In 1989, an album by his group Current Events featuring funk, world beat, and jazz reached the top 20 on Billboard's Contemporary Jazz chart. Please join me in congratulating 2020 Governor's Arts Award recipient, Darrell Grant.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Governor Brown and the Oregon Arts Commission. I'm honored and grateful to be receiving this award. I could never have imagined when I first arrived in Portland from New York in 1997, a young jazz pianist starting my first university teaching gig, that I would be here more than 2.5 decades later. I remember how adamant I was when I first arrived that I was not an Oregonian. I was a New York jazz musician who happens to live in Portland. 24 years later, I am okay with being called an Oregonian. More than okay. This is home, and I feel deeply grateful to have had the opportunity to be welcomed to this community. One of my students asked Portland visual artist Jessica Hutchins why she chose to start her career in New York City. She said, "I thought about the conversations I wanted to be part of, and that is where I chose to be." For me, so many of those important conversations have taken place here in Oregon. Conversations about place and history, about how knowledge can serve a city, conversations about what makes a thriving arts community, about how we can make work that matters and use it to make a real difference. These conversations with peers, colleagues, friends, city leaders, students, and others have enriched me deeply, provided purpose, direction, and insight. There are other necessary, though sometimes challenging conversations about how we reckon with a shameful racist past, about who has been and continues to be excluded from the Oregon story, about privilege and prejudice, about white supremacy and Black lives. These conversations provoke, accost, and unsettle. They demand that we unflinchingly examine our actions and our institutions. They challenge us to live our principles and to do the hard work of change. It is my privilege and responsibility to bring my voice to these conversations because I am an Oregonian and because the artist's tools of creative expression and empathy are integral to finding solutions. So I see this award as a charge to uphold the example of the esteemed company of artists whose imagination and vision have brought out the best in this place. Past recipients like R.V. Smith, Esther Stutzman, Mel Brown, Kim Stafford, Lawson Inada, Obo Adi, Lillian Pitt, James DePriest. Current awardees, Haklu Mahiat, Roberta Joy Kirk, John Laursen, Tony Pimble, and Portland Gay Men's Chorus. It is also a charge to elevate the voices of those brilliant artists who are telling the stories and speaking the truths in this moment that show us a better way forward. Artists like Intisar Abioto, Renee Mitchell, Mike Crenshaw, Damian Jeter, Donovan Smith, Sharita Town, Subhashini Ganisan, Damaris Webb, Edna Vasquez, and Anis Mojgani, and so many more. Some 16 years ago, I was inspired by the words of Bishop Peter's story about the truth and reconciliation process in South Africa to craft my mission statement as an artist. I wrote, "I choose to believe in the power of humans to change the world. Art is the substance of our dreams and the medium through which resonates our most fervent hopes, highest aspirations, deepest truths, and most profound experiences. Those who create art possess a consequent extraordinary power to communicate, inspire, provoke, inform, and to move others to transform society and themselves. And we bear the responsibility to use this power to effect positive change in our communities and the world. Thank you for the opportunity to pursue this vision alongside all of you. To create, as the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, the beloved community."
Congratulations, Darrell. A well-deserved honor to be sure. Now please welcome Ann Taylor, Chair of the Oregon Arts Commission.
Thank you, Brian, and welcome everyone. I think each of us would agree that arts experiences have offered us opportunities for self-awareness and to increase personal growth and critical thinking. They also give us a sense of belonging and well-being. I believe a strong arts environment is far more than bricks and mortar. In my life, the core of a healthy arts and cultural environment has been rooted in the individual artists, like we're honoring tonight, who are working on the ground in their communities to infuse their knowledge, skill, and passion so that each of us can practice, learn, and grow through the arts. At a time when it's difficult for people to physically connect, the arts have helped our communities sustain connectivity through virtual and individual experiences. Now more than ever, we need the power of art. Tonight, we honor great achievement in the arts. I want to take a moment to recognize the individuals who have nominated artists and organizations to be considered for these awards. Without their passion and dedication, we would not be here celebrating this evening. I also want to acknowledge the artists who created the 2020 Governor's Arts Award object. Jim Piper. Jim's hand-turned, carved, and painted wooden vessels take inspiration from the diverse natural environments of the Pacific Northwest and beyond. His artwork range from simple, elegant forms that accentuate the natural characteristic of wood to vessels with intricate and imaginatively detailed surfaces. Jim was raised in a logging community in Southwest Oregon, where from early childhood he learned about wood and the forest around him. Though Jim milled timbers for his personal home near Portland in the early 1980s, it wasn't until 2011 that he discovered his passion for wood turning. Jim's lifelong relationship with wood, ardent respect for form and craftsmanship, and a deep appreciation for nature continue to inform his creative expression. We are grateful to Jim for his artistry and know this year's award recipients will treasure his creations. Thank you all for your support of Oregon's arts community. Enjoy the ceremony.
Thank you, Ann, and I want to add my thanks to Jim Piper for his stunning award objects. Jim was selected for this special commission from a wide pool of extremely talented Oregon artists who were considered by our review panel. Now for the second award of the evening. Huklu Mayat Roberta Joy Kirk is a member of the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs. Tenino Wasco on her mother's side and Dene on her father's side, Roberta is widely known for her traditional and award-winning beadwork. She learned to bead by observing her older sister's intricate work. She makes beaded buckskin dresses, moccasins, beaded bags, beaded eagle fans, barrettes, and buckskins, burial outfits for men, women, and children. Over the years, Roberta has volunteered to take on several apprentices to teach not just beadwork, but the beliefs and ceremonies that make the beadwork meaningful. She has also conducted several workshops on plateau dressmaking. Roberta has a degree in musology and three-dimensional arts from the Institute of American Arts, Santa Fe, New Mexico, and has worked in a variety of museum positions, including the Museum at Warm Springs and the National Museum of American Indian. She was a board member for the museums at Warm Springs from 2000 to 2020, and at the present, she is a consultant for the High Desert Museum in Bend. From 2002 to 2019, Roberta was the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act Coordinator for the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs Cultural Resource Department and the Review and Compliance Coordinator. She is a master artist with the Oregon Folklife Network, and this year was awarded a Community Spirit Award by the National First Peoples Fund. Please join me in recognizing 2020 Governor's Arts Award recipient Huklu Mayat Roberta Joy Kirk.
Nikalawit, good evening, my people. I just want to thank our Oregon Governor Kate Brown for this unique opportunity, and as well as the Oregon Arts Commission and the Oregon Folklife Network, and for the many other organizations that have helped me to thrive and flourish. The Museum at Warm Springs, National Museum of the American Indian, and all these different places, and have helped me as I've grown from a young girl to now I'm considered older, elder, and grandmother, great grandmother. I just am very thrilled that I'm able to pass these teachings that I've been given and taught, learned from my sisters and my ancestors of the Columbia River. And when I was a little girl, I didn't know how to do any beadwork, and my mother raised 9 of us, and so she didn't really have time to sit down and do beadwork with us. She was busy taking care of us and feeding us and making sure that we had enough. And so I did learn how to do a lot of things from her. One of them was sewing, and she always had beautiful fabric, and so I learned how to make things from her. I started out, and then I started watching my sisters as they would bead belts or different things that they'd make, and I started from there. I think it's very important to continue to do this kind of work that I do, because our people gather in the longhouses and the different ceremonies, and we have to stand before Creator. And when we stand before Creator, we have to be dressed in a beautiful manner, and it shows reverence to him, and it shows respect. In our longhouses along the Columbia River, we dress up in our finest when we have different feasts and when we have different ceremonies that occur. And since I'm a food gatherer for the Simnasha Longhouse, we are always encouraged to sew for our families so that they can help too. And so I am able to make outfits for my granddaughters. I have 2 granddaughters that I'm raising, and so they come out with me to gather huckleberries right now, and as well as to dig the different roots that we gather. And so it's important that all these ways get passed down, and for that I feel really blessed and honored that I'm able to be one of them that continues on with that knowledge down to my granddaughters and my family. I'm just excited for this, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Roberta. We are thrilled to honor you this evening. Our next featured performance comes courtesy of the Portland Public Schools, which showcased its arts programs and students in a YouTube event this June. We are very happy to share an excerpt of that program with you tonight. This performance showcased dance students at the Harriet, Tubman, and Faubion middle schools in only their second year of dance programs. The schools have already presented winter and spring dance recitals before COVID-19 and were the headline performers of the Oregon School Board Association's annual conference. They focused their work on traditional and modern African movements rooted in the countries of Guinea, Mali, Nigeria, and Brazil. What a fun and impressive performance. Thank you, Portland Public Schools, for allowing us to include it in tonight's program. And now on to our next 2020 Governor's Arts Award recipient. John Laursen is a typographer, writer, designer, and editor. For 5 decades, he has owned and operated Press 22, a Portland studio specializing in the design and production of high-quality books and text-based public art projects. He has collaborated with dozens of Oregon artists, writers, and nonprofit organizations, producing books, art catalogs, periodicals, and exhibition posters for the Portland Art Museum, the Oregon Historical Society, Reed College, OHSU, Portland Parks and Recs, and the Xerces Society for Invertebrate Conservation, among others. His work in public art includes designing and editing a suite of 30 bronze plaques at the Convention Center, creating commemorative installations for the Oregon Cultural Heritage Commission, and serving on the design team for the Oregon Holocaust Memorial. In 2002, John, together with photographer and curator Terry Totemeyer, founded the Northwest Photography Archive, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to publish books of artistry and historically significant photographs from the region. Their first volume was Wild Beauty, Photographs of the Columbia River Gorge, 1867 to 1957. Wild Beauty, co-published with OSU Press, led to a major exhibition at the Portland Art Museum, was a finalist for the Oregon Book Award in nonfiction, and was declared the best Northwest Book of the Year by the Oregonian. John is currently working on the NWPA's second volume, Enduring Spirit, Photographs of Northwest Indians, 1855 to 1934. In 2011, John received the Stuart H. Holbrook Literary Legacy Award from Literary Arts in recognition of significant contributions that have enriched Oregon's literary community. Please help me in congratulating 2020 Governor's Arts Award recipient, John Laursen.
Thank you, Brian. First, I want to say that I feel tremendously honored to receive this award, and I want to thank Governor Kate Brown. And I'm grateful to the Oregon Arts Commission, but I also want to acknowledge the selection committee. I've sat on a few jury selection committees myself for art exhibitions and for the Visual Chronicle of Portland, and I know how challenging that can be. And I imagine that this particular process must be difficult indeed. So thank you. For me, it's humbling to look at the list of people who received this award. People that I've looked up to for years and admired their work, and people whose work I not only admire, but whom I've had the pleasure of collaborating with, like George Johansson, Sally Lawrence, Hank Pander, Kim Stafford, and the person with whom I've had the most sustained and productive professional relationship, Tad Savinar. I've often envied my friends who knew from the beginning what they were going to do with their lives. Hank Pander, from the time he was a little child, knew that he was going to be an artist. My partner, Michelle Glazer, from a young age was a writer and always knew that she would be a writer. What I knew was that I was going to be an academic. And to that end, I got a political science degree from Reed and then went on to collect a master's degree from UCLA. I was really focused. I never even occurred to me to take an art class. But as I moved along the PhD track, I kept having the feeling that something was wrong, that I wasn't doing the right thing. And finally, I left that track and I came back to Portland. And in the spring of 1970, I had the opportunity to buy a broken printing press. I knew how to run presses because I had done that as a summer job. So I'd like to say that I had a plan, but I didn't have a plan. I didn't have any idea of what was going to come next. No. I started designing and printing small editions of poetry and eventually some books of art. And then I wanted to collaborate more with visual artists. And so I bought an old letterpress at City Liquidators and started doing handset type on making broadsides, which are large sheets of paper with a poem on them and an etching or an engraving, joining words and art on a single printed sheet to hang on the wall. And that led me inevitably to collaborations that involved making art catalogs and posters for the Portland Art Museum and other organizations, and also to figuring out how to put words into metal and stone, doing public art typography for the sort of expanding world at that time of public art. each one of those opportunities brought greater clarity for me. I came to realize that where my talent lay and what I found most satisfying was using typography and design in a way that enhances the power of language, but doesn't call attention to itself, both in books and in the civic realm. One such project, probably the largest and most complex in many ways, was the Oregon Holocaust Memorial in Washington Park. The Holocaust Memorial drew on everything that I had learned up until that point, not just about typography, but also about the art of collaboration, because there were 7 people on the design team, and also about how to negotiate within a fraught political realm, because that project was somewhat controversial. So collaboration has been an animating force for everything that I've done, with writers and visual artists, of course, but also with those who helped bring the work to fruition: fabricators, landscape architects, stonemasons, curators, publishers, directors of nonprofit organizations, and all of those committed professionals who do the unglamorous but extremely necessary work of arts administration. As a typographer and a designer and an editor, I'm always working with the creative work of other people and always seeking to create projects that show every participant's contribution to its best advantage. Writing, which I also do, can be painfully solitary, but my experience has mostly not been like that. Writing the essays to accompany the photographs of the Columbia Gorge that Terry Totemeyer had been collecting for decades on the book that we made together, Wild Beauty, was always a joyful collaboration from beginning to end. It's been as important to me, the people who I've worked with have been as important to me as the work itself in many instances. I've learned something from everybody that I've worked with over the last 5 decades. And I feel fortunate to have found work that, even though I didn't know it at the beginning, has been a true calling. And I'm, of course, profoundly blessed to have found a home in Oregon's art community. Last year, as I saw myself approaching the 50-year mark, I thought I would have a party this spring and celebrate that. Pandemic foreclosed on that, like it has foreclosed on so many other things. But I have to say, this is better. This is way better.
John, we couldn't be happier to help you celebrate 50 years of amazing work. Thank you for all you have done. I know that many of you watching tonight represent an organization that has suffered significant losses due to the COVID-19 health crisis. I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly thank the legislature for allocating $50 million of federal relief funding to help Oregon's arts and cultural community sustain itself through this crisis. Our next Governor's Arts awardee, Toni Pimble, has been the artistic director of the Eugene Ballet for more than 40 years. Born in England, Toni studied at the Elmhurst Ballet School. Her professional career began in Germany with notable choreographers Lothar Hofgen, Anthony Taylor, Niles Christie Michael Descombe, and Miko Sperenblick. She co-founded the Eugene Ballet Company in 1978 with Riley Granin. She has choreographed over 60 works for the Eugene Ballet Company, many of those productions involving collaborations with composers, literary and visual artists, and local arts organizations, including the Eugene Concert Choir, Eugene Opera, Oregon Bach Festival, Oregon Mozart Players, the Shedd Institute for the Arts, and the University of Oregon School of Music and Dance. Toni's creative work has brought her a number of awards and fellowships, including 2 Oregon Arts Commission's Fellowship Awards and a National Endowment for the Arts Choreographers Fellowship Grant. Her work has been performed by Atlanta Ballet, New York City Ballet, Pacific Northwest Ballet, Washington Ballet, Nevada Dance Theater, Oregon Ballet Theater, Ballet New York, Kansas City Ballet, and Oklahoma City Ballet. Please welcome 2020 Governor's Arts Award honoree, Toni Pimble.
Hello, I am honored to receive the 2020 Governor's Arts Award and to be included with such talented Oregonians in receiving this recognition. Originally coming from England and finding a home in Eugene with Riley Granin and founding a ballet company, we were in the right place at the right time. Other arts organizations in the community were blossoming. The Hult Center for the Performing Arts was being built, and we grew. We started off as a seat of the pants organization, and in the past 40 years, we have grown into a fully professional ballet company touring throughout the Northwest. We are currently building a state-of-the-art, brand new studios for the Eugene Ballet Company, for our academy, and also for other arts organizations. Over the past 40 years as artistic director of Eugene Ballet, I have created over 70 ballets and worked with many talented artists in Eugene and throughout the United States. All of this work would not have been possible without the support of Riley Grannon, who for many years kept the company afloat, our staff, our board of directors, our donors, our loyal audience, foundations, the National Endowment for the Arts, the Oregon Arts Commission, and the Oregon Cultural Trust. On a personal level, for me, working with the dancers in this very intimate act of creativity has been a true joy throughout my career. Receiving the Governor's Arts Awards means a great deal to me personally. It acknowledges all the work that I have done over the past 40 years. I am truly honored, but I also want to point out that this reflects back on my community, a community that values all the arts, and for me became a springboard to expand beyond Eugene and to create works for other companies such as New York City Ballet, Atlanta Ballet, and Kansas City Ballet, to name a few. I would like to end this acceptance speech by thanking the Governor, Kate Brown, and the Oregon Arts Commission for this award. And I'd like to note, if the senses are the gateway to the soul, the arts stir, they awaken, they move, and they touch those senses. Thank you.
Tony, you have done so much to advance ballet and the arts in Eugene and across the state. Thank you. Thank you so much. Our final performance of the evening features the musicians you heard just prior to tonight's celebration. Vidit Block and Zach Banks are residents of Pendleton. They perform with regional orchestras such as the Oregon East Symphony, the Grand Ronde Symphony, the Yakima Symphony, and the Boise Philharmonic. They also find joy in serving as educators for music students throughout Eastern Oregon. Now we feature their performance of Berceuse, or Lullaby, composed by Reinhold Glier. Their wish is to share a moment of peace for all in attendance today. Please welcome Viet and Zach. That was beautiful. Thank you, Zach and Viet. The final 2020 Governor's Arts Award goes to the fourth oldest gay men's chorus in the country, Portland Gay Men's Chorus. It was founded in 1980 by two local musicians seeking to fill a social and artistic void in the community. The chorus is currently celebrating its 40th anniversary season and remains an important contributor to Portland's cultural life, recognized nationally for helping to revive men's choral singing by commissioning new works and performing music of high quality. The chorus mission seeks to expand, redefine, and perfect the choral art through electric performances that honor and uplift our community and affirm the worth of all people. Accepting the 2020 Governor's Arts Award on behalf of the Portland Gay Men's Chorus is Executive Director Richard Jung.
The Portland Gay Men's Chorus is celebrating 40 years as one of Oregon's preeminent choral arts organizations. PGMC was founded in 1980 to give voice to gay men seeking a safe place to gather and sing. That was a lofty goal back when the LGBTQ movement was still struggling to establish a foothold nationally. PGMC has been through many ups and downs since then. The AIDS pandemic left an indelible mark on our community. The fight against anti-gay ballot initiatives proved music can be a powerful voice in changing hearts and minds. And most recently, PGMC became the first Western LGBTQ chorus to tour and perform in China, providing support and encouragement to a burgeoning community struggling to establish its own voice, much as we were back in 1980. Today, we are honored to be recognized as one of the 5 2020 Governor Arts Awards recipients. This award, presented in partnership with the Oregon Arts Commission, is probably one of the highest achievements that this chorus can ever aspire to. This award honors the more than 1,450 alumni singers who lit up the stage with their gift of song and dance, the vision of our founders, including Gary Coleman and Steve Fulmer, who marshaled us through those early years, the amazing conductors who created choral performances that engaged and delighted audiences, including David York, Robert Minsel, and our newest conductor, John Adarino, who saw his inaugural concert season canceled when COVID-19 struck this past March. A board and staff who continues to provide leadership that lets us look to the future with confidence. And finally, to the 200 current singers and volunteers who embrace our mission, our music, but continually push us towards creating a more inclusive organization that welcomes and embraces the full diversity of this amazing community. Governor Brown, the Portland Gay Men's Chorus would like to say thank you for this amazing honor. We look forward to continuing to use our music to entrance, educate, and entertain for decades to come. Thank you. When you're weary, feeling small, and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down.
We believe in the power of song. We are the Portland Gay Men's Chorus.
Thank you, Richard. The video you saw as part of Richard's remarks was from the Portland Gay Men's Chorus 40th anniversary video, which you can view on their YouTube channel. Their achievement is amazing, and we know the chorus will continue to do important work for many years to come. That concludes our 2020 Governor's Arts Awards virtual celebration. Again, thank you for joining us tonight to honor these amazing contributors to the arts in Oregon. And please welcome back Governor Brown for her closing remarks.
Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's celebration of the 2020 Governor's Arts Awards honorees. My congratulations to Darrell Grant, Hatluma Hayat, Roberta Joy Kirk, John Lorenzen, Tony Pimble, and the Portland Gay Men's Chorus on their achievement and contributions to the arts in Oregon. And thank you to all the artists and arts organizations who help keep Oregon's spirit of creative expression alive and well. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Governor Brown. We join with you in wishing for a return of all arts performances and events as soon as is safely possible. And thank you for all you do to strengthen and protect Oregon's arts communities. Before we end tonight, I just want to send out a special thank you to Artslandia, who helped produce this event, and to Carrie Kuechel and Eleanor Sandys of the Oregon Arts Commission for all their hard work as well. Good night, everyone.